When I was an elder, I was floored by the number of new members who would come into the church and they would say, well, Joe Beyer was one of the first people I met. Joe Beyer was the one who encouraged me to get to know Calvary, or connected me to Calvary, or encouraged me to consider becoming a member.
Joe Beyer loved this church with every fiber of his being. When I was interviewed for my job, Joe was on the committee, and they told me, if Joe doesn't like you, you might as well not come here.
Almost every one of us has a memory of being greeted by Joe, often when we came for the first time to Calvary.
When people came to Calvary, they were welcomed by Joe.
Joe was the unofficial Uber greeter. He would be everywhere, especially in the narthex, saying hello or introducing himself to newcomers. Always interested in what they had to say, always making them feel welcome.
Anytime you came to the church, there was a good chance you were going to see Joe here. Joe joined the church in 1960, and I learned that he was part of the young adults group here.
He was an early volunteer with a young adult group that was tutoring young people in the community of San Francisco, and that's what made him fall in love with Calvary.
When seniors met, that was because Joe kept the seniors program going throughout the decades. And now we're the last Presbyterian church that offers a seniors program that is dependable.
Joe was the unofficial historian for years of Calvary, and Joe, as much as anyone, gave back to Calvary for decades by really being the person who did the best job of remembering everything that had happened here and making sure that we were all mindful of that as we came to worship here.
He gave tours throughout the whole facility and would tell you stories about every brick and every pew. He told me he worried that the history of this place would be lost or ignored, or worse yet, misrecorded.
I think his love of the past, Calvary's past in particular, became a springboard for him, a way to connect with others and share his love of this community, this place, this institution with others, and hopefully bring that same joy to them and find ways for them to connect into Calvary.
Like, not only did he know the history of Calvary and the way that it had given back to the community, that had also been what drew him to Calvary, and so he really embodied that spirit himself, and he just seemed to carry that love going forward and was always giving back. Towards the end of his life, most especially through his love and passion for the church music and being a member of the choir.
And he met his wife, Patty, in the choir.
It wasn't until Joe was dying that I realized this is our patriarch. Joe is the patriarch of this congregation.
Calvary Presbyterian Church has this wonderful building finished just before the great earthquake in San Francisco. A key aspect of building the new Calvary Church in 120 years ago was the incorporation of these windows. So frequently there were ways of commemorating original donors, and sometimes you see those inscriptions actually into the glass. But certainly they are highly sought after types of memorials in churches.
Some of our stained glass windows do not have dedications on them, and it's just time that we recognize somebody who dedicated so much of their life, so much of their finances, so much of their energy and time to building up Calvary.
This would be a great distinctive thing to give as a memorial because I think it's so permanently part of the building. It's as permanent a tribute as I can think of in a church.
The window we've chosen is here, the Nativity window, and this is where the choir would often sing before processing in on Sundays.
Joe he logged the time of these walls with such care and depth, and for him to, in memory, be part of those walls and looking down on us as we continue to gather here and worship just seems fitting for that very reason, that he kept the history of those walls for so long.
I think Joe would be very humbled that we are dedicating a stained glass window to him, and he probably might even say, oh, that's not necessary. But I think he would also be very grateful. In so many ways, he embodied Calvary's best self, the Calvary that we aspire to be, the Calvary that honors our past, respects our past, is grateful for our past, but also the Calvary that's excited about what's happening now.
He so loved the church that it was infectious, and having people like that who are part of the congregation are part of the reason that the church has remained strong and vibrant, even through years in which we've gone through periods that senior pastors have changed, and we've gone through periods of tension. It is really people like Joe who are fully and deeply committed to the church that have made sure that it's endured.
Our goal is to raise $150,000 by Easter Sunday, March 31st. And the funds will be used to seed fund our capital campaign when the time comes. We have made significant progress towards that goal, and I'd like to thank this campaign's early champions for helping us get there. But now it's your turn. Please join me in making a meaningful contribution so that we can honor Joe as well as invest in Calvary's future. Thank you.